Alright, testing. Okay. So, what is up, guys? This is Fit back here as usual. Alright. So today we will be talking about something slightly different. Alright. So as you can see, it's actually pretty obvious. Today's video is not a Genshin related video, right? Because I wouldn't say I
飘
was
摇世
burnt out
间，
on Genshin.
又何来
Because
落
I
脚
was
之处？
like I can't find anything like to make video about, right? I mean there are contents, but I just don't feel like doing it. I don't know why. Yeah, like it's kind of tiring for me. Yeah, so like I'll just put it aside first. Alright, so in today's video, we'll be making about video about Honkai Star Rail. Right, so for don't know who, for the who those sorry, for those who don't know what Honkai Star is, so you can technically understand it's basically a turn-based game developed under the same company of Genshin Impact, which is Hoyoverse, right? So I've been playing this game for quite some time, I would say. Uh, yeah, yeah, I play like around 3 days, right, since the game was released. So for those who don't know, this is the main character of the game. There is a boy and a girl. Obviously, I chose girl because I'm not gay, right? No, just kidding. Don't take it seriously. So I played this game on around April 26th, which is like three. If I'm not mistaken, I remember it's like 3 days after the game is officially released. Right. So I played the game that time and I got pretty addicted to it, I should say. So I was having fun along in the game, like not just because of the characters itself, I actually like pretty well modeled and also pretty well made, but also the gameplay. So technically it's a turn-based game, right? So it's actually pretty obvious it's turn-based. Like for example, you attack an enemy, the enemy attacks you back. Yeah, and you can use skills and other stuff. Yeah, it's as simple as that, right? So that's a slight concept of how the game actually works, right? So in today's video, I will be talking about the usual topic, alright, of every single game. I should been talking this like for actually for earlier already. I should like made this video earlier because like yeah, yeah, you can see the time on the banner is yeah. All right, so let's get onto the point today of this video, which is like should you pull the current character or should you wait for the next banner? All right, so let's talk about the current banner first. So it's actually quite obvious there are two limited characters, alright, and also two limited character icons respectively, alright. So first we have Topaz and Nambi. Nambi is the pet, I would say, okay, and Seele is just Seele herself, right? So they both have their respective icons, and I believe they share the same pity count for the character banner across each other, as well as the Lycon banner across each other, right? So the question today is actually pretty simple, right? Is like I mean not is are they both actually worth pulling? Alright, so that's actually what we are going to like go through today. Alright, so let's go on to Topaz first. So here is Topaz. Alright, she is a 5-star unit, a fire unit, alright, and also the hunt. Alright, so for those who are like curious about like regarding about the hunt or destruction, all these, alright, so I'll just like simplify them, okay? So the hunt, you can assume that it's like assassin, alright, it deals a single target like huge amount of damage. Yeah, so it's something like assassin, single target, highest amounts of damage, right? Destruction is you can assume it's like a warrior class, average, alright, like it has survivability and also have like damage output, right? And erudition is like more prioritized on AoE damage, right? And harmony is like it applies buff like to allies. Something like Bennett. If you play Genshin, it's like something like Bennett or a buffer in your team, like a healer. Not a healer to be exact. It's like a buffer, like it buffs damage, it buffs like action speed and all those. Yeah, technically that's Harmony. Oh, alright, next is Nihility. So Nihility works opposite of Harmony, so what it does is actually applies debuffs to the enemies. Like for example, reduce the enemy's defense, reduce the enemy's speed, like restricting them. Yeah, that's technically Nihility. Right, so for Preservation, it's actually pretty simple. It's just shield, like defense, alright? So it's like something like tank, right? You can assume this is like a tank. Okay, lastly, Abundance. So Abundance is healer. Yeah, the only thing it does is heal. Alright. So before the video starts, like these are some simple concepts you need to understand. So there are 7 elements in this game. Alright. Finally I can use the word element and not something else. Alright, so straightforward, fire. Alright. Using fire attacks to trigger weakness breaks will deal fire damage and apply burn effect, dealing fire DOT. For those who don't know, like for those who don't actually know what should I say? For fire, um, not fire. There is weakness break in this game. Alright, so how weakness break is if the enemy have a specific weakness from 7 of these. Alright. If you hit them with the respective element, you can break their toughness and like therefore like triggering break. So after break there will be damage over time or damage over turn. Yeah, something like that. Right. So respective elements will have respective effects. So for fire, it's burn. Physical, it will be bleed. Alright, makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. So ice, it will be freeze. Alright. So for freeze, it's different from fire and physical and lightning or wind. Like instead of like dealing damage when the DOT is triggered, it will just freeze the enemy and immobilizing them, as well as like delaying them. Right. It kind of makes sense. Like it's ice, so like you can assume it freezes you, so it can't move. Alright. Next is lightning. So lightning will like apply shock effect, dealing lightning DOT, same goes to wind. So you can remember fire, physical, lightning and wind technically have the same DOT. For ice, it will be you freeze enemy and like you immobilize them like for past a turn. Right. Next, quantum. So quantum is one of the most complicated DOT, right? So quantum, like if you break the quantum weakness, it will trigger entanglement effect. Alright, it will delays the enemy action, alright, as well as dealing additional quantum damage to the affected enemy at the start of the next turn. When the enemy is hit, his extra damage will increase. Technically, it's when you break, they'll stack DOT. Alright, you can assume it's stacked, but it's not really a stack. Right? There's like effect, alright, when during the DOT. When you hit the enemy with this quantum break DOT, when when the enemy's turn, they'll receive the like multiplied amount of damage of this DOT. Alright, for imaginary, yeah, it's simple. It's just like if you break, you will just trigger imprisonment effect, like delaying the enemy's action and reducing its speed. Right. So for those who don't know, speed is actually like how frequently your character can take action in the game.
Yo,
Right.
Lashan.
Instead of just like
Hello.
a, like taking turns and fixed turns like the old games, right? So for Topaz and Nambi, yeah. So she is a 5-star hunt character, right? Means she is definitely extreme single target. Alright. So let's talk about her passive talent. So yeah, her passive talent is she will summon Nambi, which is the tiny pet you will see. Yeah, in overworld, okay. So Nambi will automatically search for basic treasures and trotters within the set radius. Using her technique will regenerate 60 energy for Topaz after Nambi's first attack in the next battle. If Topaz is still in team after using a technique in defeating overworld enemies, a small bonus amount of credits will be added and earn the credits. A maximum of 10,000 bonus credits can be received per calendar day. After using her technique and defeating enemies in Simulator Universe, additionally receiving a small amount of cosmic fragments with a small chance of obtaining one random curio. Right, so this might help for those people who always like lack credits, right? Like one of my friends, he's always like 24/7 running low on credits. I don't know how, but he manages to like keep running out of credits. All right, maybe it's the reason that he's beating every single character, right? So in sim uni simulator universe, like it kind of helps in some occasions where you can get more custom fragments for upgrade, and also like getting a random cube. It might be good, it might be bad, you never know. Right. So for other talents, there will be fire damage increase, increased crit rate, fire damage, and some HP boost. Alright. So next, let's go into her one of her big talents. Alright. Because it's specific, it's like a one-time thing. You can assume it's like something like the level 20 ascension or level 60 ascension in Genshin. Alright, it's something related to that. Right. So the first one you can have is the overdraft. When Topaz uses basic attack to do damage, it will be considered as a follow-up attack. Right. So yeah, that's a point like everyone is like complaining like, yeah, she's not really a hunt at this point. She's just like follow up. She yeah, like something like erudition. Because like erudition is like mostly follow up. Like for example, Jingyuan, Himeko, and probably the the Argentine in the next version, alright, who is upcoming. Right. So her second one is financial turmoil, so increases Topaz and Ambi's damage dealt to enemy targets with fire weakness by 15%. Something like Dan Heng in Bibita Lunai's like his one specific um, like talent. Yeah. Right. So for a third bonus ability, you need to unlock this like level 70 or something, I forgot. Right, so after Nambi uses the attack while in the Windfall Bonanza state, Topaz additional regenerates 10 energy. So technically this will help you cycle your ulti faster. Yeah. Alright. So finally let's come to her talents. Alright, so let's start with basic attack. So at level 1 it deals fire damage equal to 50% of Topaz attack to a single enemy. Right? Pretty straightforward. The hunt is single target. Right? So next is the skill. So the skill inflicts a single target enemy with a proof of depth status, right? Increasing the damage it takes from follow-up attacks by 25%. Proof of depth only takes effect on the most recent target it is applied to. If there are no enemies inflicted with this like proof of depth state, like and when ally turn start, it will like automatically inflict, alright, a random enemy. Right. So Nambi deals fire damage equals to 75% of Topaz attack to this target. Using this skill to deal damage is considered as launching a follow-up attack. Right. So this technically means instead of like um, just doing like normal scaling, this will be considered as a follow-up attack, as well as using skill. Right. So it's still a single target. Alright. So technically it's like if you use this skill, you'll mark an um, active enemy with this proof of depth state. Alright, I will just call it POD. Alright, so the enemy who have POD is going to receive like extra damage. Alright, so for example, if you enter a new wave, there are no enemies inflicted with like POD. Alright, like one of the enemies will just get randomly inflicted. Alright, so next for her talent, alright, which is passively activated. Alright, so at the start of the battle, Topaz will summon Nambi. Nambi has 80 speed by default when taking action. Nambi launches follow-up attacks on the single enemy target afflicted with proof of depth. Alright, dealing fire damage equals to 75% of Topaz attack. When enemies afflicted with proof of depth receive an allies follow-up attack, Nambi's action is advanced forward by 50%. The action advanced forward effect cannot be triggered during Nambi's own turn. When Topaz is down, Nambi disappears. Alright, so it's like two ways of attacking. Yeah. So one is from Topaz herself, another one is from Nambi. Alright, so Nambi can be triggered, like can be advanced twice if two allies like attack first, and then he will be advanced forward for 2 times. Yeah. Okay, lastly for the ultimate, alright. So it's an enhanced ability. So Nambi's enter the Windfall Bonanza state, and its damage multiplier increases by 75%, and crit damage increases by 12%. Also, when enemies with proof of death are hit by an ally's basic attack, skill, or ultimate, Nambi section is advanced forward by 50%. Nambi exits the Windfall Bonanza state after using 2 attacks. Right? Yep, so technically ulti is just like enhance Nambi's damage and also like enhance Nambi's advanced forward action. Alright. So that's technically for the traces for Eidolons. I don't want to talk too far about it because I'm just lazy, okay. Right, so after talking about Topaz, which is a long ass SA, alright. So let's talk about Seele. Alright. So Seele is the first limited 5-star in this game. And currently she is having her very first rerun and also the first limited character rerun banner in Star Rail. Alright, so Seele is also the Hunt. Alright, she is the Hunt character, having the element Quantum. Alright, so what does Seele do is actually like extreme single target. Alright, instead of using follow up, Seele is more like, I mean Seele or Seele? Yeah, actually no, my Seele is like more brutal, alright, and more straightforward. Instead of like having a long kit like how Topaz and Nambi will actually act and attack, she herself is more alone and more straightforward and single. Alright, so I'll talk about her passive talents first. Alright, so actually it's not talent, it's ability. I'll just use ability to prevent confusion. Alright, so bonus ability first is Nightshade. Alright, when her current HP percentage is 50% or lower, reduces the chance of being attacked by enemies. This is useful as she have higher chances of surviving instead of like getting one shot when she's low HP. So for those who are like who have no idea how this thing works, so technically every character have a taunt value or taunt meter. Alright, so technically that taunt value will depends on how much the enemy wants to target you. Alright, so but the thing can sometimes be a bit fucked up. Alright, by fucked up I mean whoever uses Tingyun as support, they all will understand what I'm saying. Okay, so for next ability, like lace. How do you pronounce this? Lace rate. Yeah. So while Seele is in the buff state, her quantum rest penetration increases by 20%. Like straightforward, make it more like make her like easier to deal like direct damage. Alright. So for her last bonus ability, so after using a basic attack, Seele's next section will be advanced forward by 20%. Alright. So let's start with the technique. Alright. So her technique is after using her technique, Seele gains stealth for 20 seconds. While stealth is active, Seele cannot be detected by enemies, and when entering battle by attacking enemies, Seele will immediately enter the buff state. So for those who actually don't know what the buff state actually is, so this is it. It's one of her talents, alright? So what this talent actually do is resurgence, alright? So it enters the buff state upon defeating an enemy with basic attack, skill, or ultimate. Or you can enter battle through techniques, but first things first, you need to hit the enemy with the technique on. Alright, while in buff state, the damage of Seele's attack is increased by 80% for one turn. Alright, only for one turn. Alright, so enemies defeated in the extra turn provided by resurgence will not trigger another resurgence. Right, so you can assume this is a buff state. Alright, it increases Seele's attack by 80% whenever she defeats an enemy, regardless of any reason. Right, but this talent only exists for one turn after you defeat an enemy. So yeah, you can use this as like a trigger cap to like kill more enemies. Alright, so for example, you can use the basic attack, you can use the skill or the ult to just like proc this talent non-stop, and you use this talent to like keep attacking the enemies. Yeah. because it deals like 80% of extra damage instead of like attack, which is actually insane. Alright. So next, Thwack. Yeah, Thwack. Alright, deals quantum damage equals to 100% of Seele's attack to a single enemy. So this is level 6. Level 1 should be only 50%. Right, so I'm sorry, I maxed out Seele. I don't have a level 1. Alright, so next is her skill. Alright, so using skill points um will actually consume skill points. Alright, so what the skill actually do is it increases CD speed by 25% for 2 turns. Alright, and this quantum damage equals to 220% of Seele's attack to a single enemy. Right, so pretty straightforward. You increase your speed by 25% for 2 turns, and you just deal quantum damage to a single enemy. Okay, lastly for ultimate, alright, so still very straightforward. She immediately enters the buff state and deals quantum damage equals to 403% of her attack to a single enemy. Alright, this is level 9, not level 10. Sorry, I don't have enough meds. Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So, she immediately enters the buff state. Alright, so this means it's not just like 403% only. You need to consider that another 80% of the damage output you have on this. Alright, so yeah, she is pretty straightforward, I would say. So that's technically about how their traces works. Alright, so what about Lycones? Alright, so when it comes to Lycones, I have Seele's one, right? But not Topaz one, yeah, because
I'm too poor to get money.
alright. So first we have Seele, so it's still pretty straightforward. Alright, so at max level, can I actually not look at, yeah. So this is like super imposition 1. It's something like refinement 1 in Genshin. Right, so it increases the wearer's crit rate by 18%. While the wearer is in battle, for every 10 speed that exceeds 100, the damage of the wearer's basic attack and skill is increased by 6%. And the crit damage of their ultimate is increased by 12%. This effect can stack up to 6 times. So, technically, you need to like stack. If you want to maximize the like what is the, yeah, technically if you want to maximize the utility of this Lycone passive, alright, you need to stack like at least like 60% speed, not 60%, 60 speed. Alright, so in another words, if you can get 60 speed from your relics or artifacts um set, alright, substats, alright, yeah, technically you can just fully maximize this, but I believe most people already found out there's not much different like between using an attack percent boost or speed boosts, right? So it depends on person. Okay, um, so here is super imposition 5. So it increases crit rate by 30%, and it increases the basic attack and skill damage by 10%, and also the crit damage of the LD by 20%, up to 6 times. Alright, so it's pretty straightforward. Gives you more crit rate, gives you more damage based on how much speed you have, right? Next is Topaz. Alright, for Topaz it would be something similar, alright, but slightly different. Increases the wearer's crit rate by 18% and their follow-up attacks damage by 30%. Alright, so remember what I said just now, her bonus ability, consider her basic attack as a follow-up damage. Follow-up attack. Alright, so technically she will benefit from the crit rate and also the follow-up attack. Apply the tame state to the target, stacking up to 2 stacks. When allies hit the enemy targets under the tame state, every tame stack increases the crit damage dealt by 12%. Right. So another good, really good hunt Lycone for her. Alright, specifically tailored for her, since she can proc follow up damages and also like do more damage output. Alright. Okay, so after explaining how everything works, I mean, I tried my best to explain it as well as possible. Alright, so now let's talk about who should you actually pull. Alright, that is a very important question. Alright, and also I will try to give my best suggestions. Alright, so for those who already have your own idea who you want to pull for, or who you are more interested in, you can technically just like skip this part now, or you can just download the video because yeah, you already have your idea, so I wouldn't want to interfere. So this is just some suggestions. All right. So let's talk about Nambi first. Topaz and Nambi. All right. So for Topaz, she is, I would say she's powerful, but at the same time, she's also quite hard to build for. All right. Because like she is quite hard to play for in a specific team. Alright, so as I mentioned, she's a fire element. So for fire element, there are actually multiple characters already. So for destruction, there's only one, right? But people rarely uses hook. I mean, minority still uses it, but majority they will use other people for fire. So for fire unit, like there's Himeko, but still people don't really use her because of her kit. Alright. So most people use Asta. Alright. So Asta is good in multiple conditions like breaking shield, buffing your team, and also like stacking attack percent buff. Alright. So for Nihility there's Guinaifen. Alright. For Guinaifen, she's just newly released, so there's still yet like ways to find about her. Alright. Next is Preservation. So our fire main character is one of the preservation unit. Right. So yeah, that's technically all of it. So for now, I will say I'm not really like looking forward into the develop the development of the fire path, fire element pathway. Okay, because it's like you haven't found a really good way to like specifically made for her. Alright, the most common I've seen is like Topaz with Asta, Tingyun, and probably Bronya. Alright, but most people, not most people, some people don't have Bronya, right? And some people didn't build their Asta properly. Alright, and some people build their Tingyun, but the Tingyun keeps dying from enemy punches. Alright, as a Tingyun user, I am completely relatable to what the fuck is actually happening to every Tingyun users out there. Alright, so yeah, for Asta, for Topaz is actually like if you pull her, yeah, she can be a really good DPS, but overall it's like hard to use. I would say it's like kind of hard to use and kind of hard to maintain the team. Alright, so next we have Seele. So about Seele, as I said, she is pretty straightforward, pretty brutal. Alright, and her team is more flexible compared to Topaz, right? Due to a kit. Alright, so I've been playing Seele since the game opened. Alright, and for Seele, there are actually multiple teams for me. So the most common case is I'll run Seele, alright, and then I'll run Asta for the damage boosting part and also support. And I'll normally add a shield character, a preservation character, right, like my fire MC. The next one, I mean the last piece, I will add a healer. Alright, I mean the preservation can take damage, but you can't take all the damage, so therefore you still need like minor heals. Alright, so yeah, running a healer is definitely more important, I would say. So since we have these three characters here, the last one I will normally run is either Bailu or Locha. Alright, for if you don't have these two 5-star abundant units, alright, I mean you can use 4-star ones, alright. Like for example, Lynx is a good choice, alright. Her burst can like heal and also remove debuffs from your teammates. Alright. Or you can use Natasha, even though she's a single target heal, but her her healing stays over time also, something seems to like Lynx. And instead of like um Lynx like where the ulti can remove debuff for a whole team, Natasha is better at some point because her elemental skill can remove debuff from your teammates. Alright, so one is elemental skill, one is like elemental burst. Depends on your choices. Alright, so that's technically how I would actually play Seele, right? Because like the fact that she herself is like already have a very high ceiling for damage and scaling, alright. So for those who are like who just entered the game recently, right? Who just joined this game, alright. So I would suggest you to get a Seele, alright, because she is kind of like an all-rounder, alright. Plus, the fact that quantum units are actually kind of rare in this game, alright. Yeah. So Lynx is one of them, but she's a healer. Alright, Fushen is one of them, but she's a preservation character and she's limited 5-star. Alright, so for Nihility, we have Silver Wolf, but she is also a limited 5-star. For Quantum Harmony, that doesn't exist here. Alright, for Erudition, we have Qingque, but Qingque, you need a really good build for her. If not, she won't work well. Alright, so the Hunt, we have Seele, and Destruction, we haven't have a Quantum yet. Alright, so that's one of the reasons I recommend Seele, alright, because she is usable in most of the situation, and as one of the top DPS in the quantum tier, because there is no other quantum damage dealer in like their own element category, right? So for those who are considering who to pull, I would highly suggest Seele, alright, because she is like flexible and better in more stats compared to like normal ones, alright. Where Topaz, it's not like I not recommend you, but you need to have really good supports to hold up Topaz damage scaling and ceiling, right? So that's technically how much I would suggest, but this is just plainly for suggestions, alright. So for those who have your own idea already, you can like, yeah, you can figure out your own way, like, or your own choice, yeah, to like make things work out. So yeah, that's technically how this video is about, and if you have any other more questions, you can leave your comments in the comment section below, or if I miss anything, just yeah, let me know, so I'll just like I will just fill in the description or fill in the next video. Alright, so see you guys in the next video, and peace.